She didn't notice at first. The sun was warm on her skin. Her body stretched out on the lounge chair, eyes closed, a faint smile tugging at her lips as she let the heat sink into her. Her husband was away. The yard was quiet, and this was the first time in weeks she felt like herself again. But then, she felt it. The strange heaviness of being watched. Her eyes fluttered open, and that's when she saw him, her neighbor's son, Jason, leaning slightly over the fence, his gaze fixed squarely on her. For a moment she froze. His eyes widened as if caught in a crime, but he didn't look away. The air thickened between them, heavy, charged. She wrapped her towel tighter around her chest, heat rushing to her cheeks, but she couldn't ignore the spark that flared in her stomach. Jason was younger, far too young, and yet there was something in the way he looked at her, something that stripped her bare more than the sun ever could. She should have shouted. She should have demanded he leave. But instead, she whispered, "Jason?" His lips parted, as though he wanted to say something, but no words came. And in that silence, a dangerous truth rooted itself in her chest. She liked it. That night, she couldn't shake the image of his eyes on her. Every time she closed her own, she saw him. Saw the way he had stared like she was something forbidden, something he craved. Her husband's steady breaths beside her only made the memory sharper. She turned in bed, restless, her skin still tingling with the ghost of Jason's gaze. Days passed, but the tension didn't fade. Every time she stepped into the backyard, she felt his presence. Sometimes she caught glimpses of him through his window, sometimes just the echo of his footsteps. Always there, always watching. And one evening, when the rain had just begun to fall and she stepped out to pull in the laundry, she found him standing, there by the fence again. This time, neither of them looked away. Her pulse hammered in her ears, each beat louder than the last. She clutched the towel tighter around her body, as if that flimsy fabric could protect her from what was happening, from the look in his eyes. Jason didn't move. He just stood there, rain-damp hair falling into his face, his chest rising and falling with uneven breaths. There was something raw in the way he looked at her, something that sent shivers racing down her spine. "Jason," she whispered, her voice trembling. "You shouldn't be here." "I know." His gaze didn't waver. "But I can't stop." Her stomach twisted. She should have pushed past him, should have walked back into the house and slammed the door. But instead, she felt her legs root to the spot. And then, he stepped closer. Only a few feet now separated them, but it felt like the world had collapsed into that small space. His eyes flicked over her face, down the slope of her bare shoulders, then back up again. "Do you even know what you're doing?" she asked, though the question was more for herself than for him. "Yes," he said simply. His certainty unraveled something inside her. Her towel slipped slightly, loosening its grip, and she didn't adjust it, not this time. The silence between them thickened, charged. She could feel the heat rolling off him, feel the way every inch of her body ached with a longing she hadn't let herself acknowledge in years. And when he finally reached out, just the barest touch, his fingers brushing her wrist, her breath hitched. That small contact was enough to shatter the last of her restraint. The towel slid to the ground. Her body was trembling, but she didn't pull away. She let him look at her, really look at her, and the hunger in his eyes made her chest tighten, made her thighs press together. "Claire," he murmured, her name breaking from his lips like a confession. She swallowed hard. "This is wrong. I don't care." Neither did she. Before she could stop herself, she leaned forward, closing the gap between them. The first brush of his lips was tentative, uncertain. But then her fingers tangled in his damp shirt, pulling him closer, and the kiss deepened. Hungry. Reckless, the kind of kiss that left no room for turning back. The world outside fell away. There was no husband, no fence, no rules. There was only this fire that had been smoldering between them for months, now finally breaking free. His hand slid to her waist, pulling her against him, and she gasped into his mouth. The sound only spurred him on, his touch, growing bolder, firmer, until her body arched into his, desperate for more. For the first time in years, she felt alive, and she knew there was no going back. Her heart was pounding so loud it drowned out everything else. The world beyond the backyard disappeared. No hum of cars, no rustle of trees, just the press of his lips and the burn of his hands on her skin. She gasped when his mouth left hers and trailed down her neck, his breath hot, his touch bold now. No longer hesitant. Every nerve in her body came alive, sparking like fire. She clutched at him desperately as though letting go would shatter her into pieces. Jason. Her voice was a plea, trembling, broken between fear and desire. Tell me to stop, he murmured against her throat, though his hands betrayed him, sliding lower, hungrier. She should have. She knew she should, but instead she whispered, "Don't." That one word broke the last wall between them. He lifted her with ease, her legs instinctively wrapping around him, her towel forgotten on the ground. Their kiss deepened, wild and messy, the kind of kiss that tasted of danger, of things that could ruin lives and yet felt impossible to resist. Her back hit the wall of the house and she moaned softly, his body pressing against hers. She'd never felt this alive, this seen, this wanted, not in years, and that was what scared her most. Because every second with him wasn't just physical, it was emotional. It was addictive. When his lips brushed her ear and he whispered, "I've wanted you for so long," she nearly broke. Her fingers dug into his shoulders. This can't happen again." But her body betrayed her, arching into him, craving more. The heat between them burned too bright, and for days after it didn't fade. Every glance across the fence was heavier. Every accidental brush of hands lingered too long. They found excuses. To cross paths. Him offering to mow her lawn. Her pretending she needed help carrying groceries. Every touch pulled them deeper into the fire. Nights became unbearable. She lay awake, her husband sleeping peacefully beside her, while her mind replayed every stolen kiss, every forbidden moment. She hated herself for wanting it, yet her body betrayed her with every shiver, every restless ache. And then it happened again. Late one evening, when the house was quiet and her husband was away for work, she heard a soft knock at the back door. Her heart skipped. She knew who it was before she even opened it. Jason. His hair damp from the night air, his eyes dark with the same hunger that haunted her. She should have sent him away. Instead, she let him in. The door clicked shut behind them, sealing their secret. And in the stillness of the kitchen, he kissed her again. Fiercer this time, with all the restraint finally gone. Her body melted against his, her hands tugging at his shirt, his fingers tracing the lines of her hips. The kitchen counter became their world. Their breaths mingled, gasps and whispers filling the air. Every movement was frantic, desperate, like they both knew this was wrong but couldn't stop themselves. She lost herself completely in him that night. And when it was over, when she lay tangled in his arms on the couch, sweat cooling on her skin, guilt crashed over her like a tidal wave. "What are we doing?" she whispered, tears stinging her eyes. Jason's hand brushed her cheek. "Something we can't undo." She looked at him then. Really looked. And realized the danger wasn't just in being caught. The danger was in how much she wanted him. Because this wasn't just lust anymore. It was more. And more was deadly. Days turned into weeks, their secret. Affair a wildfire consuming everything. Every stolen glance, every hidden touch, every reckless night only bound them tighter, but the more it grew, the closer they came to disaster. One evening, as they stood too close by the fence, her husband's car pulled into the driveway earlier than expected. Her heart slammed into her ribs, panic flooding her veins. Jason slipped away just in time, but the close call left her shaken. She knew it couldn't last, and yet she couldn't stop, because the truth was undeniable. She had fallen, not just into temptation, but into him, and as much as she tried to fight it, as much as she wanted to be the wife she had promised to be, she couldn't escape the pull of Jason's eyes, Jason's hands, Jason's fire. It was dangerous, it was reckless, and it was only a matter of time before everything came crashing down.